Okay, so here's example 1. And the question is asking you, these questions should help you with your quiz today, part of it, right? So it's factor and the zeros. Because remember, it has to be in factored form for me to be able to find the zeros. You remember that? Factored form, find the zeros. So if I want to factor this, how would I factor this? Common factor. Do I have a greatest common factor? What is it? 3, negative 3. Why negative 3? Because the a value is a negative. I don't want to keep that negative there. I want to factor the negative out. Okay? If your a value is a negative, you want to factor a negative out. You can't have a negative in front of the x squared. Okay? So, I'm going to factor my greatest common factor, 3. 3. I divide this by negative 3. I divide by negative. So what do you have left for the first one? X. Negative 8. X. Don't forget your signs. Don't forget your letters. The minute you forget your letters, you're going to mess up. Because then you're going to have like terms that they shouldn't be like terms. And then what's negative 48 divided by negative 3? Positive 60. Good. So I factored my common factor out. Then I have to look at my leftovers. My leftovers is a trinomial or a binomial? Trinomial. So what process do I have to follow? Sum and product. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to and add negative 8. So B, C. B is negative, C is positive. B is negative, C is positive, so both of them have to be negative. So what multiplies to 16? Negative 1 and negative 2. What else? Negative 2, negative 8. Negative 4, negative 4. I think that's it, right? What's negative 16? Negative 2 minus 8. Negative 4 minus 4. So which one is the correct answer? Negative 4 and negative 4. So that means my factors are x minus 4, x minus 4. So I factored. This is, yeah.
The last one is negative 4, negative 4.
That's right. Because negative 4 times negative 4, if you multiply them, that gives you 16.
Okay.
If you add them, that gives you negative 8. Now,
could you write that as negative 3 bracket x minus 4?
what do you guys think? Can I write it like? Yes, because these are exactly the same thing, right? I can. But for now, let's leave it like this. Okay? But yes, I can. It's exactly the same thing.
You have 16 and negative 8. So the sign is positive negative. Let's give the large negative.
No. B, you have to look at your equation, right? B is negative. B is negative, and right? What are your zeros? How can you find your zeros? Huh? So you're going to set each bracket. Remember what we said? We're going to set each bracket equal to 0 to find my zeros. How about this one? So in this case, I only have 1 0. Can I have only 1 0? Yes. It's the same thing as the vertex. But we'll talk more about this later on. It's just for, in this case, your 0 is x equals 4. In this case, you only have 1 0. Your equation kind of, if I'm going to graph this, it's going to look like this. Okay? So what I did is I took my standard form. I factored. First of all, I did common factoring. Then I did sum and product. After I factored, now it's in a situation where I can solve for my 2 zeros or my 1 0 in this case. So you have to read the question carefully and see what the question is asking you for. In this case, the question asked me to factor, then find my zeros. So I did factor, then I found my zeros. How can you factor this one?
Yeah. In front of the A because A cannot be negative.
Whenever the first term, the one in front of the x squared, is negative, you must factor out a negative. Otherwise, you can't factor.
Now tell me, what's inside that bracket? How many terms? What do we call that? Binomial. Are they squared terms? Is there a negative between them? Good. So what factoring can I do? Difference of squares. So what's my process for this? What would I put in my first spot? You guys have to be careful. You're square rooting this. So if I square root this, what do I get? 2x. And then if I square root 1, what do I get? 1. Is it factored now? Fully? Yes. Fully factored. Now the question is, find the zeros. How would you find the zeros? Set each bracket equal to 0. So let's do that. Let's set this one equal to 0. And let's set this one equal to 0. How would you isolate for the x? What do you do? Bring the 1 over first. So that becomes 2x equals -1. Am I done? No. What do I have to do? Divide by 2. So my answer is -1/2. So you see why I want you to set each bracket equal to 0? Because it's not always just the opposite of this answer, right? So we set it up, we solve for x, we get the correct answer. So again, the steps to isolate for x is to bring that 1 over first, so that becomes a negative 1. Then to get rid of that 2, I have to divide by 2. How about for the second bracket? What do I do? Move negative 1 over, so that becomes positive 1. Divide by 2 to get rid of the 1 over 2. Okay, so what I want you to do for tomorrow is, can I have the pink sheet? I have. So you are going to do page 8 to 10. So there's 3 pages that you have to do from the homework. Okay, 8 to 10. Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to do solve word problems and finding the vertex. So we're going to do 2 lessons tomorrow. Make sure you come at 8:30 because I'm going to try to start right at 8:30. Because I want to use Friday as a review day. Your test is going to be on Monday. Okay? Now, with respect to what else do I want you to do tonight? If you guys look at this question right here, I want you to do 2 things for me. I want you to try to solve it with a pencil, unless you like to live dangerously, as my sheet says. So you're going to try to solve it. And then I want you to graph it using Desmos. I showed you Desmos before, right? Graph it using that Desmos and match, see if your answer, what you get here, matches what Desmos tell you. Okay? Make sense? We'll do the 2 lessons tomorrow.